What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 short squeeze stocks that you need to add to your watch list going into this upcoming week. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with stock number 1, not in any particular order, you have ticker CLOV. So sitting at 382. Over the last 1 year, it is up 0.79%, so nothing too crazy, but the last 5 days up 38.66%, and then over the last 1 month up 18.08. So definitely this is starting to build up some pretty good momentum. Market cap is sitting at 1.96 billion. So I know that kind of sounds like not that much, but typically for this list, it usually is. Normally you get a lot of smaller cap stocks that starts to build some good momentum, and then you also have shorts very overextended. But this one's kind of a unique circumstance. On a side note, this is what they do. So managed healthcare, 570 employees and so forth. So if this is your thing, feel free to pause it and go through it. But 12.53% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 50.14 million shares overall being shorted. You can kind of see that shorts have been a lot more reactive to the day-to-day kind of dealings of Clover. And so since it looks like May of this year, short interest was about 3%, 3.7%. So shorts have doubled down considerably. Of course, that has added a certain level of suppression to the stock price, but most recently with the stock price really moving higher, they're kind of stuck. DTC sitting at 6.2 days, so that does really signal that shorts are very overextended. So that does factor in the average volume for Clover in comparison to number of shares being shorted. And then through IBKR, it does indicate about 5.5 million shares is available to be shorted. Reason why I bring that up is sometimes if a stock is limited supply, you could see some buying from big players such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and so forth. So most likely in this case, though, with 5.5 million, probably won't be seeing all that much. Plus, cost to borrow on a side note is fairly cheap, so it's not really incentivizing to really buy, just to lend out. So nonetheless, this stock definitely does have a lot of good momentum behind it, and shorts are very overextended. Keep in mind, this week we do also have a lot of big catalysts coming out. 25 basis point cut potentially on the table, some deal with China and the States. So Trump is going to be meeting with China on the 31st. A lot of big catalysts, and that's over and above a lot of big companies unveiling their earnings. So add this one to your watch list. Moving on to the next one, ticker is DVLT, sitting at 342. Over the last 1 year, up exactly 100%. Over the last 5 days, up 48.47, and then over the last 1 month, up 415.37%. So this stock definitely has a lot of good momentum. The industry, semiconductors, 65 employees, founded in 2010. It is based out of the States, but 6.52% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 8.6 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts have been all over the place. It seems like they don't really generally know what to do. So it went from around, looks like 12% short or 7% short interest to a high of 41, went back down to 3, and now it's higher. So shorts are very all over the place, but still they are starting to increase a little bit more. So potentially having another scenario and breakout that happened in October. So this one definitely add to your watch list. Cost to borrow average is 15.98. That one is a annual rate, not a daily rate. So just keep that in mind. Through IBKR does also indicate that there is about 30,000 shares available. So this one you could be seeing some buying because cost to borrow through IBKR, for instance, is 13.94. And with this being limited supply, you could definitely be seeing some buying over the next couple of trading days as big money will buy it just to lend out. So let me know your thoughts on this stock. Moving on to the next one, we do have ticker CLB. So sitting at 1686. Over the last 1 year, it's down to about 11%, 10.98%. But over the last 5 days, it's up 45.47. So gaining a lot of good traction. Market cap 785 million. So there's a lot of good information right over here that I recommend you pause the video and kind of look at in all of the cases. But they did also just have their earnings a couple days back, so this is where you can dive deep into it if that's your thing. Of course, I don't really bring up a lot of the operational updates. nor their financials. Just bring up some of the basic kind of technicals as well as shorts. So that's what these videos are kind of primarily about, but this is what they do. So oil and gas equipment services based out of good old Houston. Right now, 13.92% of the free float's being shorted, works out to be 6.4 million shares overall being shorted. Even though shorts have returned a lot recently, so it went from about looks like 17.61%, that was mid-September, to where we are now, still DTC sitting at 12.54 days. So that does signal that shorts are very, very overextended with this stock. And then aside from that though, you have roughly around 65,000 shares available to be shorted. Cost to borrow is very low. So most likely, even though this is limited supply, I don't really see any buying, only because 0.41% is not really that much. So you probably won't be seeing any buying from big money just to lend out going into this upcoming week. Of course, things could change. But moving on to the next one, ticker is SCNX. So Scienture Holdings did go down about 39% on Friday, so sitting at 157. Over the last 1 year, down 78.64%, but still over the last 5 days, up 168.42%. With so many catalysts coming out this week, this one, you could easily see people's appetite for risk increase and this get on a lot of people's radar and they get bought up again. This is what they do. So healthcare technology based out of good old Tampa in the States, 17 employees, and then 18.97% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 3.13 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 270%, so that's fairly high. And you can kind of see that shorts in the past have been very reactive, and they just kind of seem to go all for it. They just YOLO in, double down just to kill the momentum, and then they just taper off. That seems to be what they are doing right now, but the difference is the stock price is still holding a lot better than what it has in the past. So this is where you could see a little bit of a pinch potentially in the foreseeable future. So that could make for a very interesting squeeze. Short score is 79.82, and then through IBKR does indicate roughly around 4,000 shares is available. And yeah, cost to borrow through IBKR, for instance, is 33.17. So this one, you could definitely be seeing some buying going into this upcoming week. And then moving on, last but not least, ticker is NEGG, sitting at 66.72. Over the last 1 year, up 438%. Over the last 5 days, it is up 34.81. So gaining a lot of good traction. Market cap is relatively high, so about 1.37 billion. Again, high for this list, of course. And this is what they do on a side note. So it is based out of the States. Computer and electronics retail, 762 employees, founded in 2001. But this is where things get very interesting, and you have to do your own due diligence, of course, but it does signal 211.42% of the free float is being shorted. It works out to be 289,000 shares. Clearly, something is wrong with this. And normally what happens with Ortex is if a company is diluting, then yes, that does kind of skew these numbers, because until the company actually does disclose a true outstanding share count, a lot of platforms are wrong, and again, which shows incorrect short interest numbers. But I popped over to dilutiontracker.com. They did have a S1 in November of last year, which obviously was completed. Then they had to add the money at July 2025, a couple of shelf offerings, one 2018, one 2022, and that's it. So in my opinion, this stock doesn't really have that much dilution kind of capabilities to cause that. So this is where things get very interesting. So I don't know if this is correct or not. So for those of you that are familiar with the company, is there some convertible or let's say some preferred stock that is not listed, for instance, on dilutiontracker.com? Or what's kind of your viewpoint on that? Cost to borrow average 890.67%, and then through IBKR does indicate 1,000 shares is available to be shorted, and cost to borrow is again 865%. That's through IBKR. So things could get very real very fast for this stock. So shorts are definitely overextended, and the stock has a lot of good pre-existing momentum. So Add all these stocks to your watch list. Definitely things could get very heated this week in a positive way and putting shorts in a little bit of a bind. So add them to your watch list. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. If you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.